ఇది కనబడతావా
అక్కర్లేదు. బెటర్ యువర్ లైఫ్. దిస్ ఇస్ వ్యూవర్స్. ఓకే, కౌంటర్ వస్తుంది. సో యూ క్లిక్ ఆన్. Let people come. నేను అక్కడ చెక్ చేస్తా. చెక్ ఆడియో చేస్తాం.
Hello? Am I audible? Hi? Am I audible? Can you hear me? Hello? Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible, Monica.
Yeah.
Yes. You're audible. Go ahead.
Can I start?
You're audible.
Shall I start?
Okay. Let's see how many people we have. Venkat Sai Papneni garu. Okay, great. Yamini, hi. Okay, so హలో ఎవ్రీవన్, అందరికీ నమస్కారం. నవలా స్రవంతిలో భాగంగా ఈరోజు నేను అరిపిరాల సత్యప్రసాద్ మా అమ్మాయి నవమౌక్తికాని ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ చేస్తున్నాను. అండ్ నాకు తెలుసు మనందరం తెలుగులో మాట్లాడతాం, తెలుగు పుస్తకాలు చదువుతాం. మా అమ్మాయి కూడా తెలుగు పుస్తకాలు చదువుతుంది, కానీ టుడే షీ హాస్ చోజన్ టు ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ అ బుక్ విచ్ ఈజ్ ఇన్ ఇంగ్లీష్. అండ్ I hope you like our discussion with you. Over to Mouktika.
Hello everyone. I am A.N. Mouktika from I'm studying in 8th grade in Slade the school. Now I'm here to read a chapter from my favorite book, Matilda, written by Roald Dahl. Before I start, I just want you to talk about the importance of book reading and how important is a book in our life, because there are n number of ways to entertain ourselves. We can we have a hobby, exercise, cycling, anything. It can be, we have different types of entertaining ways, but one of the healthiest, one of the best and really awesome way of entertaining ourselves is reading a book. It is really helpful educationally. We can grab a lot of information and grammar, vocabulary. So there are different things related to because it is so informative. It is really good for us. And unlike smartphone and a laptop or TV, this does not has any kind of side effects. So like the headache you get, the vision problem or radiation, you don't have those all, or any other health problems, because the book is really safe and it is really enjoyable. It is really helpful because first and foremost it is really entertaining and you'll enjoy throughout reading the book. And the second thing, it will lead you into really imaginative and creative worlds. It will lead you into different kinds of worlds. If it is a horror story, it will scare you. If it is a comedy story, you laugh throughout the book. It takes out the emotions in you. and that is why they say book is our best friend, such way. And a book is very helpful to us, but that doesn't mean you need to be a bookworm, because you know, during there are many different ways of entertaining ourselves, in which a book is a best and healthy way to entertain ourselves. It's just an option. It is not compulsory for you to read a book, or but reading book is good, but is not compulsory, or you need not be a bookworm for reading books. And this is a story. This Matilda, the book I'm having, is it's one of my favorite, because it is written by best children author Roald Dahl. It is written by Roald Dahl, and the book name is Matilda. It is about a young girl, Matilda, who is really desperate to read books and to go to school, but her parents do not allow her to do so. They say, no, girls, small girls should not be seen and not heard, and they should be quiet. They must not read. In fact, they need not study at all. They need not go to school. So they used to say her, and they used to discourage her in reading books. But Matilda was really stubborn. She was very committed that when her parents are not around, or when her brother is at school and father goes to work and mother is not in home, then she secretly comes out of the house and she goes into the library, and in the library she gets some books and reads in a cozy corner. She sits there and reads lot of books. So she really loves reading books, and she borrows them, the books, and she brings them back home, and she sits in a cozy corner in a small little bedroom, and she reads, and she moves throughout the world, just sitting in her small room in an English village. She sits in a very small room of her own. That room has just a bed and just a little place to sit or sleep, and she sits there and reads and reads and reads. She travels all over the world. She goes to America, then she goes to India, then she comes to China, then she sees different cultures, and then she goes back to high school romance, and she does all of them. She's really committed about reading books, so she reads them without the parents' knowledge. And one fine day, when her father finds out that she's reading a book, he tears apart the book and scolds her for reading a book, and as a punishment, she is sent to a school where there is a principal. The principal name is Miss Trunchbull. She is really horrible because she hates kids. Her dream is to make a school with no children in it, because that makes no sense. Where there is a school and there are no children, she feels children are like dogs. She just hates children to be along them. So whenever a kid does whoever who does not abide by her rules or do not follow her rules, they are kept in a choky place in a tunnel, and they are being poked by needles, and she literally tortures children. So how does Matilda try, and she turns tables on all the horrible grown-ups in her life, her mother, her father, her principal, kid-hating principal. How does she turn back on them? How does she take revenge on them? And it is about how does she achieve her goal? But the thing is, it's just a normal story about taking revenge of a small girl. But when there is magical powers added to her process of achieving goal, there are so many magical powers she has, and then she achieves her goal with the magical powers and little mischief. So suspense is sealed, and it is not to be revealed. You can find about how she deals with her all the grown-ups in her life. You can read it in the book. It is also in a movie. A Matilda movie is there, and it is it's not the exact. I did not get the exact experience from the book that I get from the movie, because they are different. Because while I'm watching a movie, I just watch what is happening. I don't know how Matilda looks like. I don't know which place is she sitting in, or I don't know who is she, or how her father looks, how Miss Trunchbull looks, or how are their schools. I don't know anything. But that's the way when I'm reading a book, I imagine them. Oh, Matilda is a little girl, then she's short, then she's thin, and she sits in a cozy corner with she has a fireplace. So I can think, oh, there's a fireplace. Oh, there's a chair. Oh, she sits there. She eats these. She likes those. She's short. So I get all kind of the experience or the description of the place is exact. It is when I watch a movie, I can just see what is happening. I can see pictures moving. But when I read a book, I feel that experience. This is how it is. Oh, that is so cold there. Oh, that is how it is. So I feel that is really that lovely experience while you read a book is when you imagine what is happening. You imagine that this is happening, she's moving there, and she beats the girl. Oh no, those all the experiences come out, the emotions come out from your heart. So that is really lovely about a book. So this book is about the little girl, as I said. So now I'm going to read you a chapter from this book which I really loved, where she goes out and reads books without her parents' knowledge. And then what happens next, you can know it by seeing the book, by reading the book. So I'll read few pages from the book. First chapter. Matilda's brother Michael was a perfectly normal boy, but the sister, as I said, was something to make your eyes pop. By the age of 1.5, her speech was perfect and she knew as many words as most grown-ups. The parents, instead of applauding her, called her a noisy chatterbox and told her sharply that small girls should not be seen and not heard. By the time she was 3, Matilda had taught herself to read by studying newspapers and magazines that lay around the house. At the age of 4, she could read fast and well, and she naturally began hankering after books. The only book in the whole of this enlightened household was something called Easy Cooking, belonging to her mother, and when she had read this from cover to cover and had learnt all the recipes by heart, she decided she wanted something more interesting. "Daddy," she said, "do you think you can buy me a book?" "A book," he said. "What you'd want a flaming book for?" "To read, Daddy." "What's wrong with the telly, for heaven's sake? We've got a lovely telly with 12-inch screen, and now you're come for asking a book? You're getting spoiled, my girl." Nearly every weekday afternoon, Matilda was left alone in the house. Her brother, 5 years older than her, went to school. Her father went to work and her mother went out playing bingo in a town 8 miles away. Mrs. Wormwood was hooked on bingo and played it 5 afternoons a week. On the afternoon of the day, when her father had refused to buy her a book, Matilda set out all by herself to walk to the public library in the village. When she arrived, she introduced herself to the librarian, Mrs. Phelps. She asked if she might sit a while and read a book. Mrs. Phelps, slightly taken aback at the arrival of such a tiny girl, unaccompanied by a parent, nevertheless told her she was very welcome. "Where are the children's books, please?" Matilda asked. "They're over there on the lower shelves," Mrs. Phelps told her. "Would you like me to help you find a nice one with lot of pictures in it?" "No, thank you," Matilda said. "I'm sure I can manage." From then on, every afternoon, as soon as her mother left for bingo, Matilda would toddle down to the library. The walk took only 10 minutes, and this allowed her 2 glorious hours sitting quietly by herself in a cozy corner, devouring one book after another. When she had read every single children's book in the place, she started wandering round in search of something else. Mrs. Phelps, who had been watching her with fascination for the past few weeks, now got up from her desk and went over to her. "Can I help you, Matilda?" she asked. "I am wondering what to read next," Matilda said. I finished all the children's books. You mean you have looked at the pictures? Yes, but I have read the books as well. Mrs. Phelps looked down at Matilda from her great height, and Matilda looked right back at her. I thought some were very poor, Matilda said, but others were lovely. I liked the secret garden best of all. It was full of mystery. The mystery of the room behind the closed door and the mystery of the garden behind the big wall. Mrs. Phelps was stunned. Exactly how old are you, Matilda? She asked. 4 years and 3 months, Matilda said. Mrs. Phelps was more stunned than ever, but she had the sense not to show it. What sort of a book would you like to read next? She asked. Matilda said, I would like a really good one that grown-ups read. A famous one. I don't know any names. Mrs. Phelps looked along the shelves, taking her time. She didn't quite know what to bring out. How, she asked herself, does one choose a famous grown-up book for a 4-year-old girl? Her first thought was to pick a young teenager's romance of the kind that is written for 15-year-old schoolgirls. But for some reason, she found herself instinctively walking past that particular shelf. Try this, she said at last. It is very famous and very good. If it's too long for you, just let me know and I'll find something shorter and a bit easier. Great Expectations, Matilda read, by Charles Dickens. I'd love to try it. I must be mad, Mrs. Phelps told herself. But to Matilda she said, Of course you may try it. Over the next few afternoons, Mrs. Phelps could hardly take her eyes from the small girl sitting for the hour after hour in the big armchair at the far end of the room with the book on her lap. It was necessary to rest it on the lap because it was too heavy for her to hold up, which meant she had to sit leaning forward in order to read. And a strange sight it was. This tiny dark-haired person sitting there with her feet nowhere near touching the ground, totally absorbed in the world adventures of Pip and old Miss Havisham and her cobwebbed house, and by the spell of magic that Dickens, the great storyteller, had woven with his words. The only movement from the reader was the lifting of hand every now and then to turn over a page, and Mrs. Phelps always felt sad when the time came for her to cross the floor and say, It is 10 to 5, Matilda. During the first week of Matilda's visits, Mrs. Phelps said to her, Does your mother walk you down here every day and then take you home? My mother goes to Aylesbury every afternoon to play bingo, Matilda said. She doesn't know I come here. But that's surely not right, Mrs. Phelps said. I think you'd better ask her. I'd rather not, Matilda said. She doesn't encourage reading books, nor does my father. But what do they expect you to do every afternoon in an empty house? Just mooch around and watch the telly. I see. She doesn't really care what I do, Matilda said a little sadly. Mrs. Phelps was concerned about the child's safety on the walk through the fairly busy village high street and the crossing of the road, but she decided not to interfere. Within a week, Matilda had finished Great Expectations, which in that edition contained 411 pages. I loved it, she said to Mrs. Phelps. Has Mr. Dickens written any others? A great number, said the astounded Mrs. Phelps. Shall I choose you another? Over the next 6 months, under Mrs. Phelps' watchful and compassionate eye, Matilda read the following books. Nicholas Nickleby by Charles Dickens, Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens, Gone to Earth by Mary Webb, The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells, The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway, The Good Companions by J.B. Priestley, Brighton Rock by Graham Greene, and Animal Farm by George Well and others. It was a formidable list, and by now Mrs. Phelps was filled with wonder and excitement, but it was probably a good thing that she did not allow herself to be completely carried away by it at all. At most, everyone else witnessing the achievements of the small child would have been tempted to make a great fuss and shout the news all over the village and beyond, but not so Mrs. Phelps. She was someone who minded her own business and had long since discovered it was seldom worth while to interfere with other people's children. Mr. Hemingway says a lot of things I don't understand, Matilda said to her, especially about men and women, but I loved it all the same. The way he tells it, I feel I am right there on the spot watching it all happen. A fine writer will always make you feel that, Mrs. Phelps said. And don't worry about the bits you can't understand. Sit back and allow the words to wash around you like music. I will. Did you know, Mrs. Phelps said, that public library like this allow you to borrow books and take them home? I didn't know that, Matilda said. Could I do it? Of course, Mrs. Phelps said. When you have chosen the book bring it to me so I can make a note of it and it's yours for 2 weeks. You can take more than one if you wish. From then on, Matilda would visit the library only once a week in order to take out new books and return the old ones. Her own small bedroom now became her reading room, and there she would sit and read most afternoons, often with a mug of hot chocolate beside her. She was not quite tall enough to reach things around the kitchen, but she kept a small box in the outhouse which she brought in and stood on in order to get whatever she wanted. Mostly, it was hot chocolate she made, warming the milk in a saucepan on the stove before mixing it. Occasionally, she made Bovril or Ovaltine. It was pleasant to take a hot drink up to her room and have it beside her as she sat in her silent room reading in the empty house in the afternoons. The books transported her into new worlds and introduced her to amazing people who lived exciting lives. She went on an olden day sailing ships with Joseph Conrad. She went to Africa with Ernest Hemingway and to India with Rudyard Kipling. She travelled all over the world while sitting in her little bedroom in an English village. So that's the end of the first chapter. If you like the first chapter or you feel wow, this story is nice, then you can read it. You can get it on Amazon, or you can see this cover page, you can buy it. And this chapter is really lengthy. The chapters are really lengthy, and you can see the book is really fat. Yeah, but it will be really interesting. You will not be able to know the time has passed reading this book. And this is full of so much of fun because and emotion. It's a complete book, so you don't know the time is passing while you're reading this book, even though they are very long. So it's a complete book. As I said, it is full of emotion, it is comedy, there's fun, and there is mischief also. So it is really good for young readers and children and young teenagers, because it is full of so much of mischief and fun, because she is also a little young girl and she does a lot of mischief and to turn the tables on all the grown-ups, she does mischief. She does few naughty things, few fun things, and so it is full of that. So you can enjoy the book, and you might think, as I read, it was really lengthy and big, but once you read a chapter, you will definitely not be able to put the book down. It is completely filled with fun, and you will love this book. So that's all for now, and if possible I can meet you all again, then I will. And thank you. That's all.
Good job. Thank you very much. We have so many comments and people online. Most of them I know, some of them you know, but I think we didn't get enough time. In fact, Moktika is not adapted to using the system and reading at a time. So we couldn't answer. Probably we'll come back and answer all your questions. Most of them I could see are appreciations. We are thankful for your appreciation and blessings. Thank you Srisel garu for this నవలా స్రవంతి. ఐ థింక్ ఈ రోజు మనం చేసిన నవలా స్రవంతి తోటి థర్డ్ ఎడిషన్ 3వ సీజన్ కంప్లీట్ అవుతుంది. ఆల్ ది బెస్ట్ ఫర్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ యూ ఫర్ నెక్స్ట్ ఎడిషన్ ఆఫ్ నవలా స్రవంతి. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్.
థ్యాంక్ యూ ఆల్ ఫర్ యువర్ కోఆపరేషన్ అండ్ యూ హ్యావ్ అటెండెడ్ వాట్ ఐవ్ డన్. నిజంగా చాలా థ్యాంక్ యూ.
థ్యాంక్ యూ. దట్స్ వేర్ వి కన్క్లూడ్.